Fallout mod The Frontier. Yes, that one. Following my last video where I'd mentioned that they had a fan funding campaign, a Patreon where they were taking donations, and I was curious regarding fulfillment of things that might be expected by people donating to Patreon. I had stated in my previous videos that generally the completion of a project and full release would be something that would be an obligation by the mod makers. It was brought to my attention that the Legion developer, Nazo, had appeared in a Twitch livestream and he had made some statements regarding the future of the Frontier development.
So discussing the final version of the mod that's coming and all that, the removement of all that type of stuff. Was it exactly what's the decision? Was that discussed with all the dev team? Like what you guys are gonna do going forward? Is that just what's gonna be? It's completely up to us. I know there's already. I mean, I gave the fucking day one build already out. I did it myself, and some people already did it. So
it is chaotic, but we have a plan, and part of that is the new version we're releasing.
Fine.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff that's being removed, like
come here.
The America slave thing. A lot of people have taken that out of context to the point where they're saying America gets turned into a sex slave, which no, that's not what happens. But
I think it's just the wording at the end, because there is videos
that
she said she'll do anything at the end. People take that like instant out of context. That's usually why
it was taken,
have the sex slaves in the dungeon, so people automatically assume that, you know.
It was taken way out of context, and it's being removed now because with the zoo stuff, it's in bad taste, and a few of the other things that are being removed were in bad taste just because of the newfound context of. I don't know who took the mod down, but in all honesty, taking the mod down was 100% the right call, because we don't want a case where we're like, we don't want people saying that like we're publishing a mod that has content made by a pedophile.
There's also the fact that as well, like from my understanding, like someone mentioned that voice actors and stuff were saying, "Oh, I'd rather my wit not be in this." Like you would have had to take the mod down temporarily, if not even just out of politeness to those people. To stop just distributing something that they didn't want to be part of anymore. So
I know someone in person in the Twitch chat has asked if I know which characters are having their voice lines removed. I do, but I'm not telling you.
Yeah, that's completely fine.
One question I have, right, and this is something that I'm sure other people are wondering, is I know the team said that like after this release of the Frontier, there will be no more updates or anything. How would you feel about other people in the future, like other modders in the community, like having a crack at updating or bug fixing after that point?
For the Frontier?
Absolutely.
Go ahead. Well, at this point, we're focusing on getting the Steam release, and then that'll probably be it, just because of everything that's happened.
Will there be like along with the Steam release, will there be like a final hotfix or something, or is there the?
We're going to release a hotfix soon that will be removing the stuff we talked about removing, and also removing all of Zoo's content. It's not going to be pretty. But it's something. The team right now is dedicated and committed to getting the game out on Steam.
Do reality asks, will fixes for bugs and quests happen after the Steam release?
Probably not.
Fine.
After what's happened today, everyone is just kind of really burnt out. That's why I'm saying we'll get it on Steam, and then we'll probably go our separate ways. Like, then probably go our separate ways. It's just been a lot, and it's not going to be pretty, the Steam release. It's going to be a little rushed, not going to lie, but it's going to be out there, and we'll have achieved our goal.
Considering the fact that TG Spy has left the team, I would say that any of the statements that he's made would be considered as outdated, and as Nazo is still part of the team and will be remaining on the team to see the completion, if it is at all possible, I would be inclined to trust these statements from him. The only thing which may impede this would be the involvement of the gaming press. Outlets such as PC Gamer and Kotaku, as well as Rock, Paper, Shotgun, may jeopardize the Steam release. Meep meep postscript. Whilst editing addition to the video, when I was going to Steam to get screenshots, I found that the Frontier is no longer on Steam. Oh dear. Either it's been removed by the modders themselves, or Steam's removed it because they ain't got time for stuff like this. At this time, I have literally no information. All I have is, it was there and now it's gone. Anyway, back to the video. Also in regards to the fan funding, this was brought up in my comment sections when I had stated this in a previous video. I wasn't really focused or thinking about the dev team stealing all the money and running away. I would never make an assumption like that. I realised that a mod like this would require an amount of cash to cover such things as voice acting. Having heard that some of the voice actors were people who were involved in full-scale video games several years ago. People that the devs would have wanted in their mod. Something to say, we got some big names in here. It's understandable that these people would have required a payment of some kind, as well as that a statement in the Discord server for the Frontier says that some money would go towards commissions. I presume that's artwork or music work that may have been outsourced. That's another word that they use there. It's also stated that the money that was left over was donated to charities, and there were photos of receipts there as well. There are pieces of censorship on these receipts to prevent a self-dox from, I presume, these receipts were received by TG Spy. I am under the impression that he was in charge of the Patreon for the project, as well as that donations received on the Nexus were transferred to charities. In my previous video, I had stated that TG Spy, former lead developer, had made some statements that possibly alluded to crunch occurring within the team. Nazo addressed this. He stated that Zalandro was crunching to rush the cars feature into the mod. This is what he had to say.
And in terms of crunch, it depended on the person. Zalandro crunched quite a bit to get cars out, but otherwise, we very much took an anti-crunch stance, which we have the privilege to do because we are like a mods team. But just in general, crunch is bad, and yeah, crunch is terrible. It's bad. Game studios should not have crunch. No one should have crunch.
With the way that Nazo talks about this, it sounds like Zalandro was exerting a form of self-crunch upon himself. Other YouTubers have covered this as well. TKS Mantis, Mr. Matty Plays. Many a True Nerd released a statement on Twitter, and Al Chestbreach released a statement within the comment section on one of his videos, as well as addressing the Frontier during a Twitch live stream, where he said,
I'm going to try to put out like a video explaining stuff. Yeah, I would like to, just to get my opinion on it. I know a lot of people have been asking. Also, just to clear up the facts, just because there are so many, even before the horrible stuff that came out with Zoo the Skunk, people were just piling on the mod unfairly, in my opinion, for some things. They'll be releasing an updated version with all the stuff that they don't want in the mod ripped out.
During the Twitch livestream that he appeared on, Nazo addressed questions regarding background checks on Zoo the Skunk.
So, one thing you have to understand is that since we're a mod team, we're all volunteer work.
That's true.
And while in hindsight, we probably should have done background checks, at the end of the day, this is a volunteer project. No one was getting paid, and this was all done in like a close-knit Fallout modding community. So
I'm pretty sure everybody here will understand that.
Yeah, that's part of why it happened. And yeah, so that's part of how the zoo thing happened. It's really the main reason why the zoo thing happened. Another thing is that we probably just missed people bringing it up to us in the past because we get so many messages and stuff. I know that I personally have never seen any sort of messages like that telling us that Zoo was doing that. So maybe I did, maybe I didn't see it happen at the time because we got like 50 bajillion messages on the it's literally a case of it's literally a case of 50 bajillion messages. So
one thing that I suppose, like, no, for example, I wouldn't blame you for any of this because you're a dev, right? I mean, ultimately, your role, as my understanding at least, for part of the project was simply you were doing like working on the mod, right? Now, some of the moderators in the community, especially on the server, I suppose this was something maybe they should have looked at more. Maybe this was something that the community could have talked to them, right? I mean, if they were the moderators on the server and people were saying it. Now, I understand, like, I mean, I've been moderator before in the past, and as you said, like, if people are saying something, you might hear a rumor or two, but you just think, oh, maybe it's the community joking around. Maybe, oh, he has, I mean, in the case of this person, maybe it's a case of, oh, you think, oh, he's just into My Little Pony. People are just making jokes, right? you don't take it too seriously, and then all of a sudden some crap like this happens, and you're like, oh crap, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all very well to say in hindsight, but it's like, you be part of a community, and you've talked to someone, they're your friend. You're not going to do a background check on someone you talk to and are friendly with necessarily, because you've been introduced to them by other people. You kind of come in with this presumption that they're an alright guy.
At this time, the Frontiers website has been reduced to a please stand by screen. I eagerly await to see what this standby screen will reveal when they choose to show anything to us. And finally, with the Frontier being picked up by news networks, the Tech Times has released an article, Fallout New Vegas Frontier mod taken down, 8 best alternatives you can download now. And one of their alternatives is a mod that was designed, developed and released by Zoo the Skunk. I don't know how much research the Tech Times put into this article, but I think it's of quite poor taste for them to list a mod by Zoo the Skunk at this time. Across his mod portfolio on the Nexus, which is still there for download, he has closed down all of his comment sections. I have no doubt that he would have been under some form of harassment attack by multiple people at this stage, considering everything that's happened in the last few days and the statements that were released by the Frontier team. Knowing that video trailers for this mod, the views on them numbered in the millions, I could only surmise that hundreds of thousands of people now know about what has happened with this mod and this man. Anyway, I have been StooDogg, so Sneedclave for life, yo.